Y'all, one of Wizard101's biggest updates ever is officially on test run, but today we need to talk about what could potentially be the biggest thing out of this entire update. So jumping right into it, right? Other than the actual update notes that Wizard101 puts out, there's other ways to find out in-game changes by digging into the game file. Now, while this might give you a good picture on, like what changes could be in the game, it's never, officially confirmed till Wizard101 says it. But this change is too big not to talk about. According to one tweet, which I will link, with over 1,000 likes already, a bunch of areas in Wizard City were officially renamed free-to-play. Now, the notable exceptions were Colossus Boulevard and Crab Alley, but what really caught my eye with this is they also made the Oasis in Krokotopia free-to-play. Now, why do I think this is really interesting time? Well, this update, along with the new side area of Salinopolis, also features a complete retexture of Krokotopia with HD graphics. I'm in the Tomb of Storms right now. I know it might not look like maybe that different on recording. I don't know. To me, it looks like literally night and day. It looks beautiful. I'm so excited that this is something that's like back on the table, because I was so skeptical when they were even mentioning a Krokotopia retexture in teaser form. But based on the fact that the game files for very, mainline Wizard City areas and the Oasis were all made free to play, based on that name change, what I think might be the case, again, this will not be confirmed till it's officially said by Wizard101. What it might mean is that they were waiting to retexture Krokotopia to actually make Wizard City free. I played this game for literally 15 years. The biggest criticism, the singular biggest criticism that I've always heard about them is that whenever they advertise a game, it's advertised as free to play. However, it's very hard to advertise something as free to play when they have a very early paywall. And after the paywall, it's basically you're gated behind a membership if you want to experience the vast majority of this game. You can't even get through the first world right now in Live Realm without hitting a paywall. So it could be with this beautiful retexture that they've done, they're finally ready to make all of Wizard City free. I actually think this is probably very good timing if they are going to go through with this, mainly because I think if, let's say they made Wizard City free while Krokotopia looked the way that it used to, not trying to hate on old Krokotopia graphics, but they just looked very crusty compared to the retexture of Wizard City. It would have looked very stupid in my opinion, especially if you're trying to attract a lot of free-to-play players. It would have looked stupid if they went through Wizard City if it was free and then entered Krokotopia and it looked like Dookie. I had a lot of concerns about this retexture, in my opinion, right? I feel like Krokotopia, because of its ancient history and because of the fact that a lot of it is based on, the crumbling ruins, I thought if they were to retexture, they would take away a little bit too much from that nostalgic, ancient feeling of the whole place. But I'm gonna be honest, the ice and storm areas look absolutely beautiful. I actually think if I had to really nitpick, my least favorite thing is what they did to the Pyramid of Fire. I feel like this looks way too new and polished. I think it's because a lot of this was taken from the Doomsday Croc Gauntlet. And while that's fine and all, I do think it looks a little bit too modern for an ancient Egyptian pyramid type of vibe. I'll say this though, y'all, the Krokosphinx, the Tomb of Storms, I mean, it looks absolutely beautiful. Let me know in the comments if you actually like what these look like. But yeah, I am completely astonished that they put out an expansion to Krokotopia, retextured Krokotopia. And if these leaks are true, then they might have done a lot of this specifically so that they could make Wizard City free. In my opinion, y'all, this is probably the best update that I've seen in terms of the longevity of the game. We're getting new features like spell weaving and magic fusion and all of that, which is really cool for higher level players. But I would still argue that the biggest source of new players is at the very beginning. And I can't imagine that they were gaining as many as they could have with such an early paywall. Now, weirdly enough, one of the top comments that I saw on all the Reddit posts about this, actually quite a few things in the official Wizard101 Discord, a lot of tweets, a lot of people's first response to this was that they should get refunds for actually buying Wizard City areas with crowns. And here's my honest take on this. I feel like you could always argue from KingsIsle's side anyways that people that did buy the areas, they got the worth out of that purchase because they were able to experience Wizard City or anything that they paid for 15 years earlier than everyone that's actually getting it for free. In my opinion, if they were trying to be very fair, maybe if you bought Wizard City areas very recently and you just weren't aware of this news, if this is gonna be officially confirmed, then maybe you should be eligible for some sort of compensation. But I think that if you bought Wizard City even a year year ago, which I would say most of the people complaining, they probably bought it many, many years ago. Gotten the worth out of, like, you know, the few hundred or whatever, few thousand crowns, whatever it was, you've gotten more than enough worth out of it. And while I do think that complaints like that are valid, I get it, I still think that the net outcome of something like that is just going to be good for the game. It's going to make the game a lot better. It's one of those things that Wizard101 could do to make things like their console release and just their overall competitiveness way more, like, you know, way more of like a priority. And I think losing a few crowns in the long run, I feel like people should, in my opinion, sweep that aside when it comes to the actual thing that we're getting, which could be a much better game. I'm gonna be honest, even without the official confirmation of this, the fact that this is even something that they are considering is gigantic news to me. And if they go through with this, what I'm really hoping is that they continue to retexture the first arc worlds with the goal of making the entire first arc free. I'm more than happy to see them, like, you know, monetize everything past that, but I feel like the core part of the game at this point has become the first arc. It's more than enough content to, like, decide whether you want to be a lifelong paying member or not. I think that's more than enough content. And let's be very real. I'm sure they're gonna look at the numbers if they make Wizard City free and realize that they're probably not losing that many members to begin with. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but as long as there's something to quest through, I think people will continue to pay member to gain those areas. Not to mention all the other benefits that being a member gives. I really hope that they do apply this past Wizard City. I hope they do it to Krokotopia, especially if it's successful. I really hope they make retexturing all of these early worlds and making them accessible. I hope they make it a priority, because that would be, like, probably the greatest news on earth. I would really like to see them experiment more with ways to, like, push people towards being members. I think things like, you know, maybe complimentary Stitch tokens, maybe getting free packs that you can, like, choose every month. I think the member benefits are absolutely amazing. Just maybe, you know, more things like that more frequently, just in case that they're worried about making up any sort of revenue loss. I really honestly will say this. I think if you can increase the player base because more stuff is free to play, you should end up making more revenue. I think that is something, especially with small steps, like one world at a time, maybe even. I feel like they should make more. So I'm not even sure this would be needed. It would just be cool to see them experiment on that side of things too. I did want to talk about this and show off some of the new parts of Krokotopia. This is the first full day test run has been out with all of this new stuff. And I'd love to hear y'all's opinions on a lot of this, y'all. Do y'all think that this is the biggest update that Wizard101 has had? What do you guys think about the possibility of Wizard City being free and actually Wizard101 being free all the way through the Oasis for the first time ever? And of course, what do you guys think of the Krokotopia retexture? Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave us up if you're new. And if you also want to watch my first playthrough of the Solanopolis update, you should check out today's VOD. It should be also linked in the description or, like, you know, linked somewhere on this video. But check that out. It was a 7-hour playthrough and we almost made it to the end. We made it as far as test run allows right now. But yes, this is looking like a goated update. Not perfect, and there will be more videos on stuff that's not as perfect, but I had to talk about this. Hopefully we get an official confirmation on this. As always, drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a sub if you're new, and if somebody hasn't told they're awesome today, they doing something wrong. Stay awesome, y'all. See y'all soon, and yeah.